Hey everybody, Jason here with Skeleton Key Tactical. We're at the range in Idaho with Alien Gear holsters, and we want to talk about dry fire. How do you do dry fire to make yourself a better pistol shooter? So let me give you the little spiel on that before we start talking about details. Most of us don't have the time and the money to get to the range every single day and buy the bullets that takes and all the extra time. It's 30 minutes to the range, 30 minutes back, hour practice session. That's 3 hours, 3 hours, and 50 or 80 bucks to do a decent session to buy ammo. So the quickest way for you to increase your skills shooting your pistol is to dry fire. And what I mean by that is you use your unloaded pistol. So I have my pistol here that's unloaded, and and we're going to go through a step-by-step process how to do this, but essentially I'm creating my own range wherever I want to be, and I'm going to pull the trigger and let the pistol work, but I'm going to do everything in perfect practice as though I was firing real ammo, and we call it dry fire. The gun is dry, and we drop the hammer or we squeeze the trigger, whatever that looks like on our gun, and we practice. So here's what we're gonna talk about real quick. First thing is, for most of us, our guns are located in the same place as our magazines and our bullets. You cannot have bullets in the same room when you're going to dry fire. Because what that leads to is you lose track of where you're at, and you lose track of which of your magazines are unloaded and which ones are set aside with bullets in them, and you get going and you do a quick reload and you blow a hole through your wall, and it either goes into the next room or it exits your home and into your neighbor's house. So my rule for dry fire is I'm in a room where there's only me and my gun, no magazines, no bullets. With the exception, if I'm going to do mag change practices, then I'll take some empty excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I'll take some empty magazines with me into the room, and I purposely take all the bullets into the other room. I close and lock the door, and I do my dry fire until I'm done, and then I go out and I reload my magazine if I'm concealed carrying or whatever I'm doing. So be super diligent about this. Second thing is you got to have as small of an aiming point to practice your sight alignment and your follow through as you can do. What I usually recommend to folks is if you go to the most range supply places, or when you go to the range, you get the rolls of tape that they roll out, and they've got little 1-inch squares of black pasties or white pasties. Depends on, you shoot the white part of your target. They have brown to go with go with your cardboard. Just put a black pasty on the wall, or the other option, since we're here at the range and I can get by with this, I'm not gonna pull my marker out and draw a mark on my wall. But for what we're doing here at the range today, I'm just going to draw myself a little, I don't know, 1/2-inch circle, a dot. You could do a 2-inch, you could do whatever you want. You could make an X or a little square. It doesn't really matter. But I like to use the black pasties when I'm at home, because I can just stick one on the wall and then peel it off and throw it in the trash. Or you can use blue painter's tape. You can use a piece of duct tape. It doesn't matter, anything. So we're going to this is going to be our aiming point, which means when I go to do my dry fire, I'm going to hold my gun so that my sights line up on that point right there, and that's how I'm going to do my dry fire. All right, so kind of what this looks like. I'm going to go generally 3 or 4 yards, 9 to 12 feet, which is a distance that we practice at the range fairly regularly, and it's also a distance that most of us can do inside of our home, in whatever building, whatever room we're going to do our dry fire in. You can go farther if you have a larger room, and maybe if you have a basement, would be a good place if you got a big giant basement. The farther you can do your dry fire, the more refined your technique has to become, and the better shot you're going to be eventually as you practice this. So I'm going to walk over here and kind of show you what this looks like. This is about 3.5, 4 yards right here, give or take, and we're gonna line this up so that we're gonna do our dry fire from right here. So I get my good stance, everything that I would normally do, good stance, heels under my butt cheeks. I'm gonna have a good grip, hand is high up on my shooting hand is high up on the gun as I can get it, and then I'm gonna build my grip just like I'm shooting with real bullets. My grip comes out, I'm gonna aim, hold, break the round. Okay, that would have been me shooting an actual bullet. That one, I would have put a bullet hole about a ½ inch to the right of the black dot that I drew, because when the round broke, it was just off to the side. It wasn't completely perfect. Okay, so cock the gun, do the same thing again. Okay, work the slide. So that's two. And you notice that I'm not talking while I'm squeezing my trigger, because as I squeeze my diaphragm and try to talk, I can't hold as tightly as I would if I wasn't talking. That one was a little bit down about 4 o'clock. The second one was up at 12 o'clock at the outer edge of the black circle that I drew. I don't know, because I can't keep track of the time, but I'm guessing from the time I present the pistol out until the time I break the shot, it's probably somewhere around 5 to 8 seconds, I'm guessing. We'd have to put a timer on that. But the point is, I'm doing exactly everything that I do when I'm shooting a real bullet. The other thing I want you to notice here for dry fire is, while I'm sitting here talking, I still have my trigger is depressed. I clicked and I'm holding my trigger to the rear because I haven't cycled the gun yet. So in the real world, when I shoot a shot and I hold the trigger to the rear and the gun cycles, I get the experience of resetting the trigger, which is this. Hear that little click? So when I shoot for real, I break the shot, the gun cycles, I follow through, and then I reset the trigger, because when you do shot to shot to shot, which is kind of, well, it's not kind of hard, it's impossible to do that when we're dry firing. You have to understand what your trigger finger is doing on your trigger as the gun cycles, and you let the trigger reset. So I introduced the mechanical motion of myself cocking the gun by working the slide. I hold my finger to the rear, and that way in reality, when I'm actually shooting and I follow through, the round breaks, the gun recoils, I follow through, which means I realign my sight on the target, and then I reset the trigger and I squeeze another round. So when we're doing this for real, for real dry fire, that's what this looks like. You can see it's kind of like watching paint dry. There's a lot of patience. Everything has to be perfect every single time. My grip, my sight alignment, front and rear, my trigger squeeze. We're building our consistency here. We can do this while we're in our basement and not have to take the time to drive to the range, not have to buy the bullets. And it's really, really good practice. If you guys can do this regularly, you'll improve your skills immensely over a shorter period of time than you would if you went to the range only. If you're interested in more of this, you can go to our YouTube channel, or you can go to aliengearholsters.com. Thanks a lot.